Hey there, everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope that you are either having a good weekend or that your weekend was a good one, depending on where and when in the world you are watching this video. Today, for Sunday Musings, I want to talk to you about trip planning. It's a topic that's been at the forefront of my mind this week because I've actually been planning 2 separate trips by electric car, specifically my Chevrolet Bolt EV. Now, the first one happened yesterday. I went up to Leavenworth in Washington, which is up in the mountains, for a Christmas tree lighting ceremony. And while it's very easy for me to get to Seattle from Portland along the I-5 corridor, going cross country into the mountains was a bit of a challenge, and it presented some unique problems that I had to solve along the way. But I'm also planning the road trip from Portland to Las Vegas for the whole team to take part in CES 2019. Rather than fly, we are actually going to be taking the Chevrolet Bolt EV. We're going to put all of our camera gear in it, and we're just going to drive for 2 days. We will stop, of course, along the way, and hopefully we'll end up in Las Vegas. We'll then have the car there. We'll make some videos about the experience, and we'll also have, obviously, some good videos to make while we are in Vegas at CES. But in planning this trip, it brought up some questions that I'm sure some of you have had on a regular basis. And so I thought, why not discuss the topic here and in the comments section below, and then maybe we can collaboratively crowdsource a list of places and sites that we can go to work out the best routes for our cars, and also how efficient our cars are going to be on any given route. Now, just like an internal combustion engine car, electric vehicles are affected by the weather in terms of how far they can go and how fuel efficient they are. If it's a nice summer's day, it's not too hot, the road is dry, there's no wind, and you're driving along the flat road, you are going to get the best possible range out of your car that you possibly can, provided you're not driving super quickly. In the winter, when there's snow on the road, there's water on the road, there's leaves on the road, there's a headwind, it's going to impact your range. And it impacts your fuel economy in an internal combustion engine vehicle too. You just don't notice it as much because generally internal combustion engine vehicles can travel further per refueling than a lot of electric cars can. When I'm traveling out and about in the Portland area, I really don't have to think about range anxiety. I don't have to think about recharging my car because I own a Chevrolet Bolt EV. It's got an EPA approved range in excess of 230 miles per charge. Some people have even managed to get 300 miles per charge. A friend of ours is currently managing 300 miles per charge in his. Hi, Andy. And so as long as you know where you're driving and you're driving along a familiar route, it's very easy to charge your car up and not worry about where you're going to plug it in next, because you're going to be coming back home plugging it in. But when you're on a long distance trip, especially when you're covering terrain that you don't know, it can be a challenge. Now, of course, Tesla owners have their own mapping software that's built into the cars. It's very efficient, it's very accurate, and generally, my experience of Tesla route planning has been very positive because it will take you through superchargers automatically. There won't be any issues. But if you're driving another car, I have noticed that some of the route planning systems can be a bit terrible. I know Nissan's is not great. I know GM's is not great. I was looking this morning for planning the road trips that I'm going to be going on, and it missed out a whole slew of chargers that I knew existed because I've used them before. Challenges like that put people off buying electric cars. So I want to know how you go about driving and planning a long distance trip. Now, I found a really good tool recently. It's called a Better Route Planner, I think it is. I'll put a link in the description. I've forgotten what it's called, but I'll put a link in the description below. And it takes into consideration your vehicle's battery capacity, the outside temperature, the weather, whether there's a headwind or not, how cold it is, how full your car is, what speed you like to drive at, and also, very importantly, what your average current efficiency is. So if you are somebody who's really efficient at driving, you can actually tweak the numbers to ensure that the range predictions are accurate. And this tool is great. It takes me through a lot of the charging stations that I need, but even it is not completely flawless because it uses the Open Charge Map database, and some of that database information is incorrect. And it tried to navigate me through a charging station that I knew didn't exist. It tried to take me to a Nissan dealership to charge up a CCS compatible car, and the Nissan dealership does not have a CCS charger. I know because I've checked and looked on photographs of the charger in question. So how do you go about planning a long distance trip? Do you work out that you're going to drive a certain percentage of your car's state of charge? Do you give yourself a buffer? Do you work out a time? Do you work out charging slots? And how would you explain all of this to someone who's new to electric cars? Because let's be honest, long distance planning for trips is kind of a bit of a turn-off for your average car driver. They don't want to stop and sit and figure out how far they need to travel and where they're going to fuel next. They just jump in the car and off they go. And there are projects coming online, like the ChargeWay program that's being operated here in Portland, that is really helping to revolutionize that. But right now, we're kind of still using a lot of old school techniques. So what are yours? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. As always, have a great rest of your weekend, and don't forget to keep evolving.